Hi, I'm Nathan Cruz and welcome back to Inside the Toy Room. So today we're going to take a look at my favourite toy company of all time, and a toy company that's probably fondly remembered by so many people, and that would be ToyBiz. Now, believe it or not, ToyBiz actually began life back in the late 1800s, as far back as that, and they was originally just designing kids supplies for school. It was a Canadian company called Shawan Industries, but by the time it rolled around into the late 1980s, there was a subsidiary element of it that had been sold on to become ToyBiz, and the first line of toys that they actually produced wasn't for Marvel Comics, it was for DC Comics, and it was called the DC Superhero Collection. Some of these figures was kind of questionable, to be honest. They loosely resembled the DC characters that we know and loved, such as Batman, some of the villains like Riddler, Lex Luthor, but like the actions that they did was ridiculous. I remember there's one Lex Luthor that was heavily criticised because its punching action just punched itself in the head repeatedly. So yeah, they wasn't the best figures, but they was also the ones that had the first major superhero blockbuster toy line. So in 1989, Tim Burton's Batman was released, which was a huge phenomenon, revolutionised the comic book game forever and how superheroes were perceived within pop culture. And ToyBiz was the first toy company to actually have the rights to this. So the initial toy line that was created was by ToyBiz before they was later sold on to Kenner. By 1990, ToyBiz had actually begun their relationship with Marvel, and they released the Marvel Superheroes collection, which were very similar to some of the Secret Wars collections that had been done a couple of years prior, I believe in 1984. These kind of started to see quite a bit of success, and especially by 1991 when they began X-Men, and at the time they was just going under the Uncanny X-Men figure line. If you want to know more about the X-Men toy figure line, check out our video on that right here. But yeah, the X-Men 1991 Uncanny line done really well, did really well in 1992, and of course by 1993 the TV series was in full swing. ToyBiz has basically landed a gold mine, and they ended up signing an exclusive right with Marvel to produce all their toys. This was like their first attack, Marvel's first attack at like a big media juggernaut. They'd revolutionised their versions of the video games they were selling. Jim Lee's comic book art had done really well just before they'd left to go do Image Comics. The TV series for X-Men and Spider-Man was well received, and the toy line that came with that was phenomenal. Again, if you want to check out more about the Spider-Man toy line, check out our video also here. By 1994, with the success of Spider-Man, they'd also seen the release of the Fantastic Four cartoon and the Iron Man cartoon. However, these are a bit they're okay. If you know, you can look at them through nostalgic eyes and probably enjoy them, but if you're watching them for the first time now, they're not that good, to be honest with you. And subsequently the toy line did okay, especially the Iron Man ones was more well received by kids because there was a lot of cool accessories that you could go on with Iron Man and of course his villains. By 1996, however, the Incredible Hulk had started debuting, and that was actually a really good TV show. It doesn't get like raved about, nowhere near enough, and the toys that came from it are incredible. I've got one of them right here. This is the Hulk with crash out action. And basically, as you can see on the back here, he breaks this big metal pipe thing in half. Hulk smash and crash. That just sounds so nice. I love it. I love the artwork on this, on the box and the figure itself. So yeah, ToyBiz was doing really well with supply and the demand, but then by 1996, Marvel itself actually was in a lot of trouble financially and it had to file for bankruptcy, and it was kind of, you know, what's going to happen. In the meantime, ToyBiz had also been producing wrestling figures for WCW. They would later also do them for TNA, but yeah, WCW's toy line was all produced by ToyBiz. And I've recently featured the Hulk Hogan figure in my toy room right here, but they did a few other things such as like head, this is called head ringers, so it kind of looks like a bobblehead, but the head doesn't move. This is Bill Goldberg, but yeah, there's that ToyBiz stamp right there. But yeah, they did a bunch of action figures, and to be honest, in the 1990s, I thought they were incredible toys. I loved them. The Nitro Arena in itself, I remember getting that one. I can't remember if it was for a birthday or Christmas, and I thought it was the best thing ever. I loved that toy. Played with it for years to come. So yeah, ToyBiz did a really good job with the wrestling figure line, and in the meantime, ToyBiz basically came to Marvel's rescue and retained control to continue producing the toys, and basically financially got Marvel out of trouble and allowed them to continue. and then they started producing something called the Marvel Legends series. Now the Marvel Legends series is still very popular to this day, although they're now produced by Hasbro. But yeah, they began life, I believe, in 2002, and they became one of the most popular toys to collect amongst collectors and kids. They were primarily geared towards collectors. They'd even come sometimes with like a comic book, or you'd get like a big piece of a figure that would then go on to sell. I remember Galactus and Apocalypse being one of them, that you'd buy some of the X-Men, or you'd buy some of the more like unknown Marvel characters that hadn't been really publicized in like cartoons or on film, like Deadpool, at least at that time period anyways. You'd get a piece of Galactus, like a leg, and so you'd have to buy more and buy more, so that eventually you'd get this huge figure. And they continued to make these long after Toy Biz would go under. In 2007, Marvel would once again find themselves in financial trouble, and it was the decision by Toy Biz to basically merge the company into Marvel Entertainment and sell the toy rights to Hasbro. And that kind of marked the end of Toy Biz, which is quite unfortunate, to be honest, because although Hasbro has done a really good job in continuing where Toy Biz left up, I still think that the charm of the artwork, the bright colours and everything that Toy Biz was associated for has kind of gone now. And I think that started, to be honest, when Toy Biz was started producing the Lord of the Rings figures. They was well received for how highly detailed they were, because obviously these was based off films instead of cartoons, and animation has changed and come a long way since then, so it's understandable that only the toys would change along with pop culture and how we see and perceive our superheroes. You know, for somebody who grew up in that time period and somebody who looks back at the 1990s as probably the height of pop culture, particularly for superheroes and toys, Toy Biz is, you know, king of the mountain. I think of my childhood and the toys that I had back then, and pretty much all of them were Toy Biz. The X-Men figures, the Spider-Man figures, the wrestling figures that I had, because I was a huge WCW fan, and they were all owned by Toy Biz, created by Toy Biz. Fondly remembered for the bright colours. Like I say, how many times I've been on this channel and we've looked at Toy Biz toys and I've said it's the artwork that I love here, it's the artwork that I love here. They went on to basically produce the Marvel Select series, and the Diamond Select all originated from Toy Biz. It's no surprise to anyone that this is my favourite toy company, and for many collectors of that era, why it's their favourite toy company, because, you know, whether you realise it or not, they pretty much dominated the 90s for that stuff. Just looking at some of the collections here on the back of this that I still want to add. This is the only Hulk that I've got. The Hulk figures are so hard to come by, to be fair, they're quite rare. But yeah, Toy Biz were incredible, fondly remembered by myself and collectors all over the world. Big thank you to them. Once again, thank you so much for supporting this channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel below, hit the little bell so you're notified every time we upload a new video. Give us a thumbs up, give us a thumbs down if you didn't like the video. Let us know what it was that you didn't like about it, what you did like about it, because it's the only way that we can improve this channel. And thank you very much for your support.